Hey there, it's Kevin Kennedy, and welcome to episode number 10 of Fusion Fridays. By the end of this video, you'll know how to add joints and context sets to a Geneva Drive in Fusion 360. For this lesson, I'll be using a sample file located in the Data panel. Click the Data panel icon, scroll down until you see the Samples section, and double-click on the Basic Training folder. Then scroll down and double-click on number 6, the Assemblies folder. Within the Assemblies folder, you'll find a Geneva Drive file near the bottom. And if I double-click on it, the file will open up. Before we can do any work to the sample file, you'll have to make a copy because the sample files are read-only. Now to make a copy, simply go to File, Save As, and then you can rename the file if you would like, or you can also change the location of the file. And then once you hit the blue Save button, the file will be copied and we can now go ahead and make changes to it. Let's take a look at the timeline to see what's been done to this model already. I'll click on the group in the timeline to toggle it open so we can see the entire timeline. Then you'll see that this frame component has been grounded, which is good. We won't have to worry about that moving on us. If I click on this first rigid joint, it looks like that's been applied to this frame as well. I can also select the other two rigid joints in the timeline and see where they're applied. So it looks like this sample has the cross component joined to the frame, and we can go ahead and move that around the revolute axis. But the rotor component still needs to be assembled as we can move that around freely. I'm going to hit Revert in the toolbar, which will move everything back to its original position, and then I'll zoom in on the rotor so we can see all of the components in the subassembly. We'll need to add a few rigid, as-built joints to all of these components so they don't move when we go to position the main rotor component. Now you can think of the rigid joint as gluing two parts together. I'll select As-Built Joint from the Assemble drop-down menu, and because the components are in place already, you'll see that all we have to do is select the two components to join them. I'll simply select the main rotor component and then the white cylinder component and click OK. To join the next ones, I'll right-click and select Repeat As-Built Joint, and then select the white cylinder and then the piece just above it, and I'll click OK. I'll right-click again, select Repeat As-Built Joint, and then select the gray piece and the red piece and click OK. Lastly, I'll right-click to select Repeat As-Built Joint one final time, and then I'll select the red component and the center cylinder and click OK. Now, if I go ahead and select this rotor component with the mouse and move it around freely, you'll see that all the components are joined together. The next step is to add a joint to the rotor so we can move it in place to the frame and the cross. If you're not familiar with the difference between joints and as-built joints, then be sure to check out the video that I'll link to in the description below. I'll hit the keyboard shortcut letter J to call the joint command, and I'll change the motion type to revolute because we'll want this rotor to spin around a single axis. Then we'll need to look at the rotor from the bottom so we can select the bottom edge of this first extrusion. And we'll need to look at the frame from the top view. And we'll want to select the corresponding edge. You'll see that the nice thing about Fusion 360 is that not only does it give us a nice preview of the motion so we can confirm that it's correct, it will also automatically turn the component's opacity down. So we can look at this model from the side view and make sure that everything is lining up correctly. Everything looks good, so I'll go ahead and click OK in the Joint dialog box. If I now click and drag on the rotor or the cross component, you'll see that they both revolve correctly around their given axes, but they interfere with each other. So to solve this issue, we'll have to create a contact set, making sure that the two components can't run into each other. I'll hit revert in the toolbar to make sure that everything is in its normal position. And then we'll need to enable contact sets by selecting Enable Contact Sets in the Assemble drop-down list. And then I'll select New Contact Set from the Assemble drop-down list. And all we have to do is select the cross component, and then we want to select the component that will actually come into contact with the cross component. So we'll need to select the white cylinder component. If I click OK in the dialog box and manually move the rotor around, you'll see that now the two components work together as they were intended to. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions at all about this tutorial or Fusion 360 questions in general, then be sure to comment them below. Hit that thumbs up icon if you learned something in this video, and click subscribe followed by that little bell icon to be notified of more Fusion 360 tutorials.